Becky Lynch, the man turned problem child of WWE Monday Night Raw, her recent heel turn, the betrayal of Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in her quest to go on and become women's IC champion, has everyone talking, analyzing, and predicting her next move. Fans are debating her motives, her targets, and her chances in Money in the Bank when she challenges Lyra Valkyria for the women's Intercontinental Championship. But what if there was one crucial element, one significant piece of the puzzle that most Becky Lynch fans are not thinking about right now? Beyond the immediate chaos of her heel persona and current feuds, there's a deeper layer to what WWE might be doing with Becky Lynch. A long-term play or character nuance that changes the entire perspective of her current run. Well, there's also another thing that I think we found that you're not thinking about. Is her feud with Lyra Valkyria just about revenge, or is there more calculated, perhaps even more manipulative endgame that Becky Lynch is orchestrating? We are exploring a potential angle that goes beyond the surface level of the narrative. Today, we're not just recapping what you already know, we're diving deep into one thing. Once you see it, it may make you reevaluate everything you think about Becky Lynch's current direction in WWE and what WWE may have planned for one of the biggest stars that they've ever had. Now, the June 2nd episode of Monday Night Raw saw a video package from Becky Lynch. She said that she's only been back for 6 months and that Lyra has cost her the tag team titles and her chances at Money in the Bank. Yet, Valkyrie accused her of taking away opportunities. Valkyrie was also in the echo chamber for the ignorance of not understanding what greatness was and would never achieve. Valkyrie has never forgotten what Lynch did for her, and it was a lose-lose situation. So keep in mind, she's only been back for like 2 months. So just keep that in mind. I misspoke on that. At Money in the Bank, we are getting a little more. We are getting Lyra Valkyria. We are getting Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. In my opinion, I don't think fans are noticing the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the fact that Becky Lynch took out Bayley at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch and Bayley are on a collision course. Bayley has been teasing on social media that she is returning to the company very, very soon. She's returning to television very, very soon. In my opinion, I've always thought that Becky Lynch versus Lyra was a springboard to Becky and Bayley's. So what if you had Bayley make her brand return and cost Becky Lynch the match? Think about this. So quick recap. So Bayley and Lyra were going to be challenging Limwer and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag team titles at WrestleMania 41. Lyra finds out, hey, Bayley got attacked. She's out of the match. She gets Becky Lynch as a last-minute replacement. Becky and Lyra win the titles, only lose the title one night later on an episode of Monday Night Raw. Becky then turns heel, attacks Lyra. It sets the collision course for a feud. Backlash. Lyra Valkyria goes over in a stunning result, beating Becky Lynch, retaining the women's IC title. Okay, everyone thought that strip was going to be flipped. Now we are building towards the rematch. If you were going to be doing a title change, you would have done it in the first match, in my opinion. With Bayley teasing her return, what that tells me is we are setting up towards Bayley making a surprise return and costing Becky Lynch this championship match. It does two things. Number one, it really does heat up the Becky Lynch-Bayley feud, which in my opinion means it's time to get this ball rolling. As good as Lyra and Becky has been, it has been good. You need to get, especially with Evolution 2 coming up, which I believe is going to be maybe the main event, but at least one of the key matches. Becky at Bayley at Evolution 2 on July 13th. But it also keeps Lyra as your women's IC champion. So not only does she feud with Becky Lynch and have a pretty noticeable feud but it also sets the stage for her to go and feud with someone else and keep the women's IC title in it. This feud with Becky has not only elevated Lyra, it's also elevated the women's IC championship, which is needed, right? So you're doing a lot with this feud. And I think when Becky first came back and she replaced Bayley, and there was a lot of outrage, and there was Becky Hogan memes. Triple H said at the press conference, Bayley's going to be fine. Just calm down. I think that's what he meant by, did it suck that Bayley missed out on WrestleMania? Of course it does. How couldn't it? WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year for WWE. Every single star on the WWE roster wants to be on that WrestleMania card. The only problem is, not everyone can be on the WrestleMania card. So you have to pick and choose, plug and play, if you will, with this roster. I think with the way that WWE has done this, it sets up so many good things, including for Becky Lynch, right? It brings her back in a significant way. It brings her back as a heel. It brings her back in a title picture. It brings her back as she has two built-in feuds, right? For it being Lyra and then ultimately with Bayley. The only thing that my theory is hung up on is if you're going to do a main event of Evolution 2, Becky Lynch Bayley, which I feel has enough to be the headliner. I do fear, though, a little bit that WWE will feel inclined to have Becky be a champion because they'll want a championship on the line, right? If you go back to Evolution in 2018, what were the two key matches? Well, really, Becky Lynch Charlotte Flair was the true main event. It's what sold the show, but WWE, because they were building the women's division around Ronda Rousey, they felt like they needed a championship match to close the show. So while everyone was emotionally invested, and in my opinion, the show was sold on Becky Lynch Charlotte, which was the co-headliner, best match of the night, by the way, they decided to do Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's title against Nikki Bella. Okay. Now on paper that sounds, okay, that makes sense. They're two big names. People weren't into it because they saw right through it. They're like, there's no way that Ronda Rousey is going to be losing to Nikki Bella. There's no reason, there's no way that Ronda Rousey is going to be losing the Raw Women's title to Nikki Bella, right? Like, so in my opinion, I think we're going to actually recreate history by saying, hey, Becky Bayley is a true main event, but we're not